Hey, Michelle. Okay, Michelle, here is
Good
my
morning.
question for you. Here's my question. Hypothetical. You just started a 1 year engagement. Today's day one. Tell people what a fractional CMO is and what a fractional CMO would do in the first 90 days. Oh, and let people know who you are.
Um, sure. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
My name is Michelle Waite. I'm a fractional CMO. I also am the founder of a company called Growth MVP. I mainly work with early stage growth companies who are bringing innovative, interesting new products to market. I love to work in the seed to series A stage, and I also work hand in hand with other fractionals in different disciplines to help people get ready for their next fundraise, raise, fundraise.
All right. Well, now that we
So
know
let's
that,
start. Let's see.
what is a fractional CMO and what does one do in the first 90 days typically?
So a fractional executive acts part-time or temporary. It could be full-time temporarily with a company to provide them executive level marketing or other expertise, and gets deeply involved in sort of the executive level strategy and management, and sort of sits at that table and helps oversee the marketing.
Okay.
I
Well,
think the first 90 days are probably some of the most important. And for me personally, when I first engage with a client, I work on from a category design perspective. So it's really important for me to understand what their product is, what problem they're solving, how their business model is structured, and really dive into understanding the business and what they're trying to accomplish and how they're doing it different. So that's really sort of the establishment of their point of view as a company right up front. I think that's extremely important.
oh,
Depending on the company that I'm working with, actually, and how much they know me already, or if I'm new to the game, I also like to get an early win. I like to, find something that makes them feel kind of comfortable with me and what I can bring to the table, but also gets them feeling good because they feel like they got something right up front.
right. All right. And Carolina, hi.
Good morning, Dean and Michelle. So my name is Carolina McCulloch. I'm a fractional CMO. You can find me at CMO Architects. I especially mostly on IT, cybersecurity, and funny enough, I ended up also getting really involved in the B2B SaaS and ed technology. So those are the ones that I focus mostly on.
Right.
Um, in terms of the question,
First 90
I like to
days.
say, yeah. So one thing I like to say, and I get this a lot, is make a distinction between what a CMO consultant is and a fractional CMO, because people get those wrong often.
Hmm.
So a consultant is a person that's going to give you something and basically leave it and forget it. They're going to move on to the next thing. A fractional CMO, it's still very much an extension of your company. It's just the contracting is different, right? So you're still part of the company. You're just not a full-time employee. You're just coming in, and it depends on the situation, but you're coming in to either fix something, help them get something going, but you're still very much, an extension of the company, not an not an outsourced person. So I think that's super important for people to understand, because it's such a misconception. And in terms of what I do in the first 90 days, I like to break it into like a 6 steps process, right? You want to come in, you want to be able to um, understand their business, communicate with their business, review their current marketing efforts if they're doing something. Then you want to move on to step 2, where you're going to take them and start developing that strategy, meeting with the stakeholders, getting customer insights, doing all that strategic planning. That usually takes place in that first month. And then you move on to trying to find and align if they have teams, right? Where is the team at? What is the team doing? what have they done, what has worked, what hasn't, kind of really get into all the ins and outs of the company, understand everything that has been going on, whether they have a marketing team or not. Super important to know where they are in their journey, and then you start putting together the actionable plans, right? And starting to look at what you're going to measure, how you're going to measure, and then of course you start acting as what you are, which is the leadership of that marketing team.
Well, okay, let's switch away then, Carolina, from the CMO's perspective, and let's switch over. Let's say I'm the client's CEO. All right, I'm your client's CEO.
Okay.
I probably had to. Yeah, you're probably the first CMO of any kind, never mind fractional CMO, that the company's had. I mean, there's a good chance of that. And I had to go get approval for budget, right, to
Right.
bring in a fractional CMO. Like, how am I going to get maximum value? Like, I want to squeeze every last penny of value. It was a pain in the butt to get approval for this spend anyway. I want to get the maximum value from my 1 year with that fractional CMO. Right? How do I do that?
Yeah. So I mean, I actually agree
One
on
way
this
that I do it, for instance.
with Michelle. Try and find right away quick wins, things that are going to right away give you a good return on your investment, especially your marketing investment. What that looks like is different for every company, right? But in one way or the other, you're trying to find, like I said, part of that initial process is like looking at what has worked, right? And if you have something that has already worked, or they then go and do more of it to get that client quick results, so that they can see that their investment is actually working, right? And whether that is from the digital aspect, SEO or ad campaigns, or awesome email marketing campaigns, whatever that is, just go look for those things that if now that's if they've already done it, of course. But if they're coming in new, startup, they're just trying, the CEO has been the one doing the marketing, just really trying to understand what they've done, right? Even if it's not a marketing team, what they've done, and then try and direct them and try and get those quick wins that are going to show positive impact to their companies.
All right, Michelle, I want to ask you the same question, but I want to ask it backwards. How does the CEO generally waste the money, or how does a company waste the money that they spent on a fractional CMO? It's not the CMO's fault. How'd the company waste the money?
Interesting. Yeah. So I
What did they
think
do or not
when
do?
the CEO does not fully embrace the CMO, and sorry, is this not, am I coming
Yeah,
through?
you're fine.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, try again.
Sure.
So I think when the CEO does not educate the CMO and take the time up front to talk about the business and the goals of the business, align on expectations, look at a year out from now, and educate that CMO on where they want to be and how they think that they want to get there, and allow the CMO to be able to have opinions about that as well. I think when that doesn't happen, that's when there's a lot of misalignment. I think when the
Right.
CEO says, oh, just go work with my sales team and figure it out, and you guys will make it work, and is not involved in any way from a high level strategic position, then I think that's when it becomes a problem.
All right. Let's talk about the marketing team. If there is a marketing team there, like, how does bringing in a fractional CMO improve things? Like, how are they going to be better at the end of 12 months than at the beginning of that 12 months when the fractional CMO is brought in generally? Michelle.
I think, yeah. So There's a company that I work with right now who had 2 junior level marketing people on their team, and they were working directly for the head of sales because they didn't have any strategic marketing people. So the main focus for them was obviously sales enablement tools
Right.
and things to help provide for the salespeople to be able to get in front of their customers. And that's a part of marketing, but that's not the whole of marketing. And there's so much more. So when I first came in, being able to establish sort of what their expertise was and work with them closely and coach them and develop a marketing plan together with them so that they could see where we're going and what we're trying to accomplish, and then coach them along the way on the tactics and the things that they may not have had the expertise on. I think when you do that and you find yourself as a coach for them, that makes that engagement much more valuable for the company.
Caroline, how about you? At the end of the year, a 12-month engagement, how is the marketing team different or better than when you first walked in?
I mean, I couldn't agree more with Michelle on this one. I mean, you want to empower them, right? You're not coming in to be their boss. You're coming in to lead them and give them direction and share knowledge and build their confidence in the things that they're doing. And if you empower people as a leader, not only everybody wins, the company wins, but they're also feeling like they're achieving something beyond just doing the work, right? So empowering people is super important when you're in a leadership position, because it helps everybody grow, and the team gets better, right? So
Right.
and it's about not just giving them tasks, but giving all the resources and everything they need to accomplish those tasks. So providing them with everything they need to be successful is a super important part of our job.
Okay. Well, let's go way down in that organization, right? Let's think about the most junior employee in marketing at that company, possibly the newest hire, right?
Okay.
I don't know, 25 years old, first real marketing job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, an organization where it was just kind of a team of, some people, somebody did social media maybe, and somebody did email, and somebody on the website kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
For that most junior person, suddenly there's a chief marketing officer, at least for the next year, right?
Right.
If I'm the most junior person, what do I have an opportunity to learn here
Oh
from that
man.
person?
I
Or
mean,
put it another way, you've
yeah.
been fractional CMO, you're 9 months in, you say, it's such a waste that none of the junior people ever came to me and asked me about X or wanted to talk to me about ABC. I would have been so happy to pass along what I know or what I would have done, if I was way back in their, at their point in their career.
Oh, but that's the point, right? You can't wait for them to come and ask.
Yeah.
You have to go and
So what are they going to
let
learn?
them know, that you're open to have those
Mm-hmm.
discussions and those talks. So I actually have that exact scenario in my business right now. So I also run a digital marketing agency, right? And we just hired a junior person, right? And I said to her, the first thing is, don't ever feel scared or intimidated. Like, we're the same thing. Just come to me if you don't know, if you need help, if you want me to walk you through things, just
Right.
reach out. But you have to open that door, right? Because the reality is, when you have junior people in your teams, they're not as confident and as as more experienced people to just walk in or call your manager, your CMO, to just say, hey, can you give me a hand with this? So you actually have to the one that initiates that conversation and give them the opportunity to come to you, because then they feel comfortable, right? You've opened that opportunity. And then what's happened in my case is, now we sit regularly to work together and work through their roadblocks and the things that they're trying to learn. And then that not only works because they're growing in their personal journey, but it helps me because now I know where they are and I can empower them and give them the things they need to keep on growing and remove all of those barriers.
Yeah. Michelle, how about you? What would you want the most junior person to ask you? Or what would you tell Michelle at the beginning of her career? If you could go back and talk to yourself, like, what should you be focusing on? What should you try to get out of this 1 year exposure to a CMO?
So I think the number one thing that I coach young professionals in marketing is that marketing is a business function, first and foremost. It's not tactics. Tactics are important. You'll learn the tactics. You can go online and you can figure that all out. What you need to understand is that you are helping this company grow their revenues, which means you need to understand the business and what the business is trying to accomplish. And that's the number one thing. If you always keep that in mind, the tactics should all flow from that. So that is probably the number one thing that I help or hope that to pass along to the junior employees. My goal when I go into a company is not to be with that company forever. I mean, that's the nature of fractional, right? So I want to leave that company in a better place than when I came in, so that they have the right people in the right places in their marketing department. And if that means bringing other people in as well, or internally coaching the junior employees to be able to get to that spot at some point.
All right. Michelle, I have a question now as we sort of actually, you talked about cycling out at the end of a year, but let's imagine that it's 11 months in and the board and CEO are talking and whether or not they want to renew a fractional CMO is on the agenda. What has happened so that the board and CEO are like, yeah, we absolutely want to renew for another year. Absolutely. What did that CMO get right so they're going to get renewed?
I would say the bottom line is help them with their growth over that period of time. So, and they see the direct relationship because that CMO has been sitting side by side with their other executives. They work well with the other executive. It's not a competition. And in fact, with the fractional setup, it's almost a little bit easier because it's not like you're fighting for, some sort of executive seat that the other person is fighting for at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think if they see the results, obviously, I mean, if they see the results, that's the thing. In the startup world, which is the one that I work in the most, if I help them get to a point of being able to raise the next round of funding and be in a better position because of it through the category design work that I've done, or through bringing in a fractional CFO who has helped, position them on CFO, fractional CFO, help them on the financial side so that they are well set up to raise money on their terms, or they have the VCs coming after them. That would be something that I think the board would be very interested in.
Okay. Carolina, I have a different question for you, but Michelle, if you want to chime in afterwards, by all means. So, Carolina, I'm not trying to be mean here, okay? But there are easier ways to make a living than being a fractional CMO.
Agree. Agree.
It is at times, no matter who you are and how great your clients are, it is from time to time an extraordinarily frustrating job.
Yes.
Why do this job? Why do this job?
Okay. Why? So my why is because I love it. And I love what marketing can do to companies. right? So not only I love doing the work and putting the strategies in helping those companies move forward, but if we do our job well, um, those companies should be in a much better place, no matter how frustrating at times it is. They should be in a better place once we start implementing our strategies and our plans, and they should be able to see progress, right? And so I do it because honestly I love it. I love, especially the digital part of it. I love the digital marketing aspect of being a CMO. So I just, you have to love it. It's the only way you're going to keep going through the hard times.
I'm writing a book called What Your CMO is Trying to Do. And there's like a tiny section in there where it talks about how basically the statement is everyone in sales is an optimist and everyone in marketing is also an optimist, because if they weren't, the job would kill them.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
You
You
cannot be
got
a pessimist and work in marketing. Like, it will
no,
kill you. Right?
it definitely would, and you have to work through those hard times,
Yeah.
and there are many.
Yeah.
It is challenging, and it sometimes makes you want to scream, but then you're like, but I think that's part of the job that also makes it fun, right? Like, it's not a
Yeah.
boring thing. You're not going to do the same thing every day. It's like every day you get up to a new challenge,
A
and
new
not
reason to be
only you're
frustrated. Yeah, I
challenging
get it.
people, not only you're challenging your people, but the people is challenging, they're
Yeah.
challenging you, and they're making you also, like, whether it's your team or the CEOs or the founders, they're challenging you, and then you have to challenge people, and so it just becomes like this kind of fun game. He's
Yeah.
making me grow and I'm making them grow, and that's how we move forward. So yeah, bottom line is you got to love it, otherwise you're just gonna be crushed.
Yeah. And Michelle, how about you? Why do this? I am not a fractional CMO.
Yeah, and I love how Carolina framed it, which was what is my why? And for me, it's very clear. And the reason why I work with startups is my why is bringing new innovative products that are solving problems in the world in innovative ways. And that's what gets me excited. And so being able to work, there's frustrations and the details and all that sort of stuff. But the bigger picture of being able to do that really, gets me up in the morning.
Yeah, no, I mean, that I can see that angle. I can kind of understand, right? I mean, I'm a copywriter. Most copywriters write blog posts and articles, content writers, and God bless them. A lot of businesses need a lot of words written. I don't write any of that stuff, right? I write homepages and ads and landing pages, and I write the first thing a company intentionally puts in front of a stranger, and I do that because nothing else will sort of move the needle. I can see progress for that company.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if I just wrote blog posts, no offense, but if I just wrote blog posts all day, I'm writing for Google, not really for people. Right. To get that person's attention and draw them into the client's world. Like, that's the whole point. Right. It's a weird, dumb, fantastic job.
You know what, Dean? I think it's also
I love it.
It's the satisfaction that something small can bring to your clients, right? Like, I just had one yesterday. I was working with one of my clients, and we made just it was a small thing in the big picture, but he's like, it's made a 15% increase impact in my business in 2 weeks since we made that change. The smile on that client, the joy that it brings them, that's what we're here for, right? Like, because that's what inspired us to keep on going too, right? Like, the joy of seeing that what we're doing is impacting them, and they're seeing the change, which is impacting their business and improving their lives too, right? It's we're all living and doing what we're doing, because we ultimately all want to achieve some sort of personal goal. So if we're moving that needle so that that person gets their company goal, and by getting that company goal, they're getting some sort of personal goal, then I think that gives everybody, enjoyment, which is what, helps us get through the tough times, right?
Yeah, I can tell you, I've talked to at this point 350 fractional CMOs, and most of them are just walking around with a lever, trying to find a place and a client where they can jam it in and make a big difference.
Yeah.
They're lever people. Okay, Carolina, who should contact you and how should they get in touch with you?
As I said at the beginning, I work
Mhm.
with IT, cybersecurity, SaaS, B2B, particularly in the ed tech industry. It's a big part of my business. And otherwise, like small businesses that need any kind of marketing needs, especially in the digital marketing world. You can find me at CMO Architects for the fractional CMO and digitalarchitects.com for the digital marketing services. And thank you, Dim, for having me here today.
Well, thank you. And Michelle, who should get in contact with you today? And because if there's no reason to delay, and how should they do it?
I think founder or CEO who are looking to raise their next round or get an exit within 6 to 12 months, or just looking to grow to a certain point to have traction to show favorability. Those are the people I like to work with. I love working, again, with innovative companies, so people who are bringing really new types of different technology to the market. The best way to get in touch with me is on LinkedIn. Michelle Waite. My company name, again, is Growth MVP. You can find me there. I am also part of a collective called experiencehack.com. We are fractionals from all disciplines, so we bring in the right people at the right times for that same goal of raising in 6 to 12 months.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Carolina. It was great to have you here today. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode.